While Real Madrid gears up for one of the most demanding stretches of their season, Thibaut Courtois has managed to give fans a rare, light moment right in the middle of all the pressure. In a casual social media Q&A, the goalkeeper was hit with one of those fun, impossible questions. If the world was ending and he had to pick one teammate to survive an apocalypse with, who would he choose? You might expect a wild or joking answer, but Courtois actually went surprisingly practical with it. He named Dani Carvajal as his apocalypse partner of choice, and once he explained why, supporters immediately understood, and the clip started spreading fast among Real Madrid fans. Courtois didn't pick Carvajal for laughs. He broke it down in a way that almost sounded like he was picking his back line for a Champions League knockout game. In an end-of-the-world scenario, he said, it would be all about who you can actually live with every day, who you can trust when things are tough, and who you believe will make good decisions under pressure. For him, that was Dani Carvajal. If you follow Real Madrid closely, that tracks perfectly. Carvajal is one of the real constants of this team. He's been through multiple title races, Champions League triumphs, manager changes, squads reshaped again and again, and he's still there, still starting, still leading. Inside that dressing room, he isn't just another veteran. He's one of the guys the others gravitate toward when things get serious. Hard-working, intense, reliable, and with that mix of grit and calm you want when the stakes are sky high. So when Courtois says that in an apocalypse, you need someone who's stable, who you can plan with and depend on every day, choosing Carvajal says a lot about how he's viewed inside the squad. It's the same reason coaches trust him on the pitch when the game is on the line. Leadership in a crisis, whether it's the last minutes of Clasico or some imaginary end-of-the-world scenario, looks pretty similar. But Courtois didn't stop there. He added a second answer, and this is where the humor kicked in. He said that if survival wasn't the main objective, if the idea was just to enjoy those last days and make them fun, then he'd change his picks completely. In that case, he'd surround himself with Vinicius Jr. and Kylian Mbappe. That alternative choice tells its own story. If he wants to stay alive, he picks the steady defender and born leader. If he wants entertainment until the final whistle of humanity, he chooses two of the most explosive, charismatic attackers in world football. According to Courtois, with Vinicius and Mbappe around, you're guaranteed not to be bored while everything falls apart. It's a playful way of describing the balance inside this Real Madrid team. On one side, you have the Carvajals of the world, disciplined, experienced, responsible. On the other, you have the Vini and Mbappe tier. Outrageous talent, big personalities, capable of producing something magical out of nowhere. You need both types to win trophies, and Courtois Apocalypse picks accidentally underline exactly that. The timing of this Q&A is interesting, because away from the jokes, Real Madrid are deep in serious business mode right now. They're heading back to the Santiago Bernabéu this weekend, a place that has become a fortress again in La Liga. In the current league campaign, they've won 10 of their 11 home games, turning the stadium back into one of the hardest places to visit in Europe. On Saturday, the Bernabéu hosts Real Sociedad on match day 24, and the stakes are very real. Madrid come into this game chasing an 8th consecutive league victory. If they keep that winning run alive, they will, at least temporarily, jump to the top of the La Liga table. What happens after that would depend on the result of Girona versus Barcelona on Monday. But for now, Madrid know that 3 points against Sociedad would put real pressure on their closest rivals in the title race. This is where Kylian Mbappe's form becomes absolutely crucial. Since arriving, he's done exactly what was expected of him. And then some. Right now, he's scoring in every league game he touches. He's found the net in each of the last 6 La Liga match days, which, at this level and under this level of scrutiny, is ridiculous consistency. It's not just that he's scoring, it's when and how he's scoring. Mbappe has been stepping up in key moments during this packed part of the calendar. When the games start to blur together and tired legs and tired minds can open the door for drop points. Having someone who can manufacture a goal on his own, either by burning past a defender or rifling one in from the edge of the box, is exactly what separates league champions from teams that run out of steam in February and March. Head coach Alvaro Arbeloa knows all of that, but he's not underestimating what's coming to the Bernabéu. He's been very clear that Real Sociedad are not a side you can treat like just another home game. They found their rhythm under Pellegrino Matarazzo, and the numbers back that up. They're unbeaten in 9 straight matches across all competitions. That run includes a Copa victory at San Mamés earlier this week. And winning away at Athletic Club in that stadium is never easy. It doesn't matter what competition it's in. That's the kind of result that tells you a team is not just organized, but also mentally strong. Sociedad come into the Bernabeu 8th in La Liga, pushing up the table, and with confidence that they can go toe-to-toe with big opponents. Offensively, they're led by Mikel Oyarzabal, who already has 9 league goals this season. Oyarzabal isn't the loudest name for casual fans, but anyone who follows Spanish football closely knows how dangerous he is. Smart movement, clean finishing, and the kind of timing in the box that makes him a threat even if he's quiet for stretches of the match. Give him one chance, and he can punish you. From Arbeloa's perspective, this is exactly the type of game where focus can't drop for a second. Yes, Madrid have the advantage of the Bernabeu. Yes, they're on a winning streak. And yes, Mbappe is red hot. But they're facing a Real Sociedad side that's very hard to break down, very good at staying in games, and currently unbeaten under a coach who clearly has them believing in his structure. The good news for Madrid is that they're not just relying on Mbappe. They're also getting a major boost with the return of Vinicius Jr. After missing out through suspension, Vini is back in the squad and available again. Anytime you add his energy and unpredictability to the left wing, everything changes. That's where Courtois, if the world is ending, I'm picking Vini and Mbappe for fun. Answer looks a lot like reality on the pitch. Those two together in the same front line are a nightmare to defend. Mbappe can drift central or pull wide. Vini can isolate fullbacks and attack them one-on-one. And between them, they create space for midfielders arriving late or fullbacks overlapping. Defenders are constantly forced into decisions they don't want to make. Step up and risk getting burned in behind, or drop and allow midfielders to dictate from 20 to 25 yards out. Having both available at the same time is huge, especially heading into a month like February. Real Madrid's calendar is packed. On top of the league grind, they've got a Champions League doubleheader against Benfica to think about, plus a tricky league trip to El Sadar to face Osasuna before the month wraps up. El Sadar is one of those grounds where things can get chaotic quickly if you're not fully switched on. Put all of that together, and you can see why Arbeloa is preaching caution and professionalism ahead of every match, not just the so-called big ones. That's really the story of this phase of Real Madrid season, balancing the lightness and humor fans see online with the absolute seriousness of what's happening on the pitch. Courtois joking about Apocalypse partners makes everyone laugh and shows the human side of the squad. But the reality is that inside the training ground and in the locker room, they all know they're in the middle of a crucial push. The Bernabeu being such a stronghold this year only adds to that feeling. 10 wins out of 11 home league games is the kind of record that used to define Real Madrid during some of their most dominant years. Opponents come in already aware that they're walking into an atmosphere where the margin for error is tiny. The expectation from the crowd is always the same: attack, dominate, and win, when you're also chasing your 8th straight victory in the league. Any slip stands out even more. That's why someone like Dani Carvajal is so important beyond the jokes about living through the end of the world. He, along with Courtois and a handful of others, is one of the emotional reference points in the team. When the schedule tightens, when the pressure of the title race starts to creep into every conversation, those are the types of players who keep everyone on task. They've seen what happens when standards slip, and they've seen what it takes to hit the level required to bring major trophies back to the club. And it's also why having characters like Vinicius and Mbappe matters in a different way. Yes, they're unpredictable. Yes, they're entertainers on and off the pitch, but they also bring the spark you sometimes need when fatigue sets in. In long seasons, not every win comes from a flawless tactical performance. Sometimes it comes from a moment of individual brilliance, a run out of nowhere, a shot from distance. Those are the moments Madrid is counting on them to deliver, just as much as the supporters are coming to the stadium hoping to see them do something special. Real Sociedad will be fully aware of that. Matarazzo's unbeaten run with them isn't an accident. They've been compact, tough to break down, and confident enough to play their own game rather than simply park the bus and hope. A Copa win at San Mamés shows they can handle hostile environments and still stay true to their style. Oyarzabal's 9 goals are part of a broader system that creates chances through patient buildup and clever movement, not just individual chaos. So, when they walk into Bernabeu, they won't be coming to admire the stadium lights. They're coming to try and snap Madrid's winning run and put their own stamp on the season. Arbeloa knows it, the players know it, the fans know it, and that's what makes this fixture one of the more intriguing ones on the La Liga calendar this weekend. At the same time, everything happening on the pitch and in the title race doesn't erase the value of a small, fun moment like Courtois Q&A. These are high-pressure environments. Between league matches, Champions League nights, constant scrutiny from the media, and the expectations of a club like Real Madrid, something as simple as a goalkeeper joking about which teammate he'd ride out in Apocalypsis gives everyone, players and supporters, a chance to breathe. It reminds fans that behind the headlines and match reports, there are real relationships in that dressing room. Carvajal isn't just a name on a team sheet. He's someone Courtois thinks he could share a bunker with while the world ends. Vinicius and Mbappe aren't just statistics and transfer fees. They're the life of the party when things get heavy. That human layer is part of what keeps people connected to the club beyond just the trophies. But once the weekend arrives, the smiles from that Q&A give way to a very clear objective. Keep winning. With Mbappe in lethal form, Vinicius returning refreshed, the Bernabeu roaring, and leaders like Carvajal guiding the group, Real Madrid go into the Real Sociedad match looking, on paper at least, close to unstoppable. Of course, paper doesn't win titles. Results do. And in a season where every drop point could swing momentum in the La Liga title race, matches like this one are where champions either reinforce their status or open the door for someone else. Courtois Apocalypse picks gave Madrid fans something to laugh about for a few days. Now, he and the rest of the squad have to face a very real kind of survival test. Not at the end of the world, but at the top of the table.